Not everyone is ready to shift, but you are, and that's why you're here. Let that sink in for a moment. You didn't land on this video by chance. You didn't stumble across these words in the middle of your day for no reason. Something brought you here. A resonance, a signal, a feeling that there is more for you than what you've been living, and a quiet, powerful knowing that you are finally ready to say yes to it. This is what synchronicity really means. It's not random, it's not coincidence, it's confirmation. A mirror from the universe reflecting the frequency you've already begun to step into. And the fact that you're seeing this now means your energy is shifting, whether you realize it or not. There are moments in life when something clicks, not always in big dramatic ways. Sometimes it's subtle. A phrase hits different. A song gives you goosebumps. A message enters your life at the exact right time, not to tell you something new, but to remind you of something you already knew. That's what this is, a remembering. Because deep down, you've known for a while that the life you're living isn't the full truth of who you are. Maybe it once fit. Maybe it served you for a season. But lately, something's been shifting. You've outgrown the old story. You've felt the discomfort, the restlessness, the pull towards something you can't quite name. That's not a sign you're lost. It's a sign you're aligning. The moment you begin to question what you've accepted, the moment you stop automatically identifying with your past, the moment you begin to feel more resonance with your dreams than with your limitations, that's the moment you start shifting. Most people ignore that moment. They bury it. They tell themselves it's unrealistic. They go back to sleep, energetically, emotionally, spiritually, and they live in loops. Same thoughts, same patterns, same timelines, but not you. You're here, you're listening, you're paying attention, and that's why you're ready. The truth is, readiness doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like exhaustion, like you're too tired to pretend anymore, like you're done arguing for your limitations, like you can't bear to keep shrinking into a version of yourself that no longer fits. That's not weakness, that's awakening. You're beginning to resonate with a new life, and it's showing up through messages like this, through signs, through synchronicities. Synchronicity isn't just the universe sending you clues, it's the universe responding to your frequency. You don't attract synchronicity randomly. You attract it when something within you begins vibrating at a new level. When the internal shift begins, the external world reflects it. So if you've been seeing repeating numbers, if you've been crossing paths with aligned messages, if people or insights have been entering your life at the exact right moment, don't brush it off. These are not just anomalies. These are confirmations. You're not just hearing a message right now. You're being reflected back to yourself, to the version of you that's already evolving, to the self that's been waiting for you to stop doubting and start listening. And what that version of you wants you to know is this: you're not behind, you're not broken, you're not too late, you're exactly where you need to be, right on time for the shift you've been asking for. What makes you ready isn't perfection. It isn't having it all figured out. It's being willing to listen to the pull instead of the fear. It's being willing to say, I don't know what's next, but I know I'm done staying the same. You don't need to know every step. You just need to stop clinging to the step you've already outgrown. Readiness is a vibration, and the fact that you're still here reading this means that vibration is already active within you. So trust it. Trust the version of you that was curious enough to click on this. Trust the version of you that keeps feeling pulled toward more. Trust the part of you that feels a deep resonance with the idea of shifting realities, even if you can't explain it yet. Because that part of you is the bridge. It's not your logic that leads the shift. It's your resonance, your willingness, your energetic yes. That's how timelines open. That's how doors appear. That's how everything starts to bend. When you stop trying to force change from the outside and start aligning with what's already moving inside. And it's moving. You've probably felt the friction, the sense that your old goals don't excite you like they used to, that your old routines don't light you up anymore, that the version of you you've been performing is no longer sustainable. That's not failure. That's frequency mismatch. And it's one of the clearest signs that you're on the edge of a shift. You can either collapse back into the old or lean forward into what's calling you. This message is here to help you lean forward, because even though not everyone is ready to shift, you are. And the synchronicity of this moment is your proof. The rest of the world might still be choosing comfort over growth, familiarity over evolution, but you're done pretending the old timeline fits, and that makes you rare, that makes you powerful. So here's what I want you to do next. Acknowledge the shift. Name it, own it. You don't need to explain it to anyone else. Just recognize it in yourself. Because when you acknowledge a shift, you solidify it. Say it out loud. I am ready to shift. Let the words land in your body. Let them echo. Let them become a decision. And then stay with us. Because in the next segment, we'll explain exactly what you're shifting into. You'll learn what parallel realities really are, how this shift actually works, and why you're not imagining this pull. You're finally aligning with what's always been real. If you're truly ready to shift, then it's time you understand what you're actually shifting into. Because this isn't just about changing your mindset, improving your habits, or adopting new affirmations. Those things help, but only when you understand the foundation beneath them. The foundation is this: you live in a multiverse. That's not science fiction. It's the reality of your existence. Right now, there are infinite versions of you, living infinite lives. In infinite timelines. There is a version of you who made different choices, a version who healed faster, a version who pursued their desires without hesitation, a version who lives in abundance, clarity, peace, and purpose. And these versions don't exist far away in some unreachable dimension. They exist here, now, in the quantum field, in a state of energetic potential. You're not waiting for them to be created, you're simply not tuned into them yet. This is the truth that changes everything. You don't create your dream life from scratch. You select it from the field of infinite possibilities. You don't have to fight for it, prove you're worthy of it, or wait years to become someone different. It's already there. Your only job is to become a vibrational match for the version of you that's already living it. Let's break that down. You are not experiencing just reality. You're experiencing a version of reality that matches your current frequency. That frequency is determined by your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your state of being. These elements make up the signal you're broadcasting, and that signal selects which version of reality you step into. Every time you shift your state, you shift into a slightly different timeline. A slightly different version of reality begins to take shape around you. And if you hold that new state long enough, the outer world adjusts to reflect it. You've felt this before. Think about the days when you wake up and everything just clicks. The right people show up. Things feel effortless. You have more clarity. You say exactly the right thing. It's like you're in sync with the universe. That's not luck. That's a shift in frequency. The opposite is true too. When you spiral into self-doubt, worry, or emotional chaos, your world responds. You miss signals, you attract friction. You experience a version of reality that feels stuck, closed off, and unwelcoming. It's not that reality changed, you selected a different one. Parallel realities are not theoretical. You are shifting between them all day long. With every new belief you adopt, every decision you make, every emotional state you embody. The question isn't, can I shift? It's, what version of reality am I shifting into? The version of you who lives the life you dream of. They are not better than you. They are not more deserving. They simply hold a different vibrational pattern. They think different thoughts. They feel different emotions. They've let go of different blocks. And because of that, they've tuned into a different timeline. This is why no change is ever wasted. Every moment of clarity, every release of an old belief, every emotional breakthrough, these are not just self-help milestones. They are quantum shifts. They are you collapsing old versions of reality and anchoring new ones. The quantum field doesn't need time. It needs resonance. It responds to coherence. When your mind, body, and spirit agree, when your internal world is aligned, your external world adjusts. So how do you use this? You stop waiting to feel different once things change, and you start feeling different so that things can change. You stop asking, when will it happen, and start asking, what state do I need to embody to step into the version of me where it already has? This is not delusion, it's selection. It's emotional and vibrational maturity. It's understanding that reality isn't fixed, it's fluid, and your alignment is the compass. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean you deny reality. It means you stop treating your current version of reality as the final word. It means you recognize it as a snapshot, one of many available, and that by shifting your signal, you begin to select a new one. So what determines your signal? First, your beliefs. Your beliefs act like filters. They determine what you notice, what you expect, and what you allow yourself to receive. A belief isn't just a thought, it's a frequency anchor. If you believe something is impossible, you will tune into a version of reality where it remains out of reach, not because it's actually impossible, but because your filter won't let you see the version where it's available. Second, your emotional state. Emotions are energy in motion. They broadcast your inner world. They are the language your body uses to speak to the field. That's why gratitude, joy, love, and peace are so magnetic. They're high-frequency states that align with timelines of expansion, ease, and abundance. And third, your dominant identity. Who you think you are is the foundation of the reality you experience. If you see yourself as someone who always struggles, who is always behind, who is never enough, you're going to access versions of reality that reflect that identity back to you, not as punishment, but as confirmation. But the moment you begin to shift that identity, even subtly, the field takes notice. When you begin saying, I am someone who receives, I am someone who trusts, I am someone who creates from alignment, even before it's fully embodied, you begin signaling a new timeline. It doesn't happen all at once, but the shift begins. You start seeing different results, different people, different opportunities. You start feeling more clarity, more flow, more ease. That's not a coincidence, that's a new selection. And if you continue holding the new state, especially through challenge or uncertainty, the old timelines lose their grip, the old identity fades, and what felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. So if you're seeing this, and if this message resonates, that's not just inspiration, that's evidence. That means you've already begun shifting. You're already brushing up against a new frequency. You don't need to earn the new reality, you just need to stabilize your signal. And the way you do that is simple. Stop rehearsing the version of you who's struggling. Stop arguing for the story that keeps you small. Stop identifying with the timeline you're trying to leave. You're not here to fix yourself. You're here to remember the version of you who never needed fixing. That version is already real, already available, already waiting. And with every aligned thought, every expanded emotion, every courageous decision, you are walking toward them. Not someday, right now. You are shifting. Now the only question is, will you hold the signal? There's a point in every journey where you understand the concept, but you haven't yet lived the change. You know about alignment, vibration, the quantum field. You understand parallel realities. You've felt the truth in it. Maybe you've even seen glimpses of what's possible. But nothing seems to stick. And if that's where you are, you're not alone. It's one of the most common places people get stuck. Not because they're not capable, not because they don't believe, but because they haven't crossed the threshold from awareness into embodiment. Understanding isn't enough. You don't shift your reality just because you get it. You shift when you live it. There's a trap in the manifestation and reality shifting world that no one talks about. It's the illusion of progress through information. You keep watching, reading, studying, and for a while that's necessary. But eventually, you start to confuse inspiration with transformation. You feel lit up by the concepts, but you're not anchoring them into your real daily life. That's where most people get stuck. They've updated their thoughts, but not their behavior. They've reprogrammed their beliefs, but still act from their old identity. They've shifted their desires, but not their standards. And because of that, they keep selecting the same reality, even though they know there's something else available. So let's make this clear. You don't live a new reality by visualizing it. You live it by disrupting the old one. And that disruption isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, internal, but it's felt, and the universe responds. Here's why most people don't disrupt, because the old self is comfortable. Not happy, just familiar. Familiarity feels safe, even when it's painful. So instead of stepping into the unknown, people keep performing the identity they've already outgrown. They wake up and replay the same routines. They speak in ways that shrink their energy. They make decisions from fear, not alignment. They wait for signs when they are the sign. And it's not because they're lazy or broken, it's because shifting requires a kind of inner integrity that most people were never taught. The ability to act from who you're becoming, not who you've been. Let's sit with that. Most people act from the frequency of their past. They let yesterday's emotions decide today's choices. They let old evidence dictate what they believe is possible. They wait for circumstances to give them permission before they shift. But you're here because you're ready to live differently. So let's talk about what that actually means. Living the shift means interrupting the version of you that's no longer aligned. It means becoming aware, in real time, when your choices are being driven by habit instead of resonance, when your voice shrinks, when your posture closes, when you hear yourself repeating stories that don't match the reality you're calling in. And instead of letting that moment pass, you catch it, you breathe, you shift. That's embodiment. That's how the new timeline stabilizes. You don't need to change your entire life overnight, but you need to start proving through action that you are no longer available for the identity you've outgrown. So let's make this practical. What does it look like to live the shift? It looks like making a different choice when your old self would have stayed silent. It looks like setting a boundary you used to collapse under. It looks like walking differently, with presence, with poise, even when no one's watching. It looks like starting your day with the question, what would the version of me I'm stepping into choose today? And then answering it. Not perfectly, but intentionally. This is where most people hesitate. They want to feel 100% ready before they act. But readiness isn't a feeling, it's a choice. It's the willingness to be a little uncomfortable, to stretch, to show up before you have proof. Because the proof doesn't come first, the shift does. And here's the beautiful part. When you start making decisions from the new self, even small ones, you collapse timelines. You cut ties with the version of you who's been looping, and you begin reinforcing a new identity. Not in theory, but in motion. Remember, energy moves through action. So speak differently, move differently, decide differently. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need permission. You just need consistency. If you want to know why you're still stuck in an old reality, look at what you're tolerating. Look at the conversations you're still having, the commitments you're still honoring out of guilt, the environments that drain you but feel too scary to leave. That's your portal. Not everyone is ready to walk through it, but you are. Because here's what's already true about you. You've seen through the old story. You've felt the dissonance. You've heard the call. And now your only job is to stop betraying what you already know. You don't need to find the shift. You need to stop leaving it. So let's take it even deeper. Let's talk about how to stop leaving it. Start by building rituals that anchor the new frequency. Don't just think new thoughts. Design new rhythms. Create sacred space. Choose input that nourishes your new identity. Put reminders in your environment. Use scent, sound, movement, and light to reinforce the state you're stepping into. Energy is sensitive. Give it structure. Then watch your language. Words are portals. Every time you say, I can't, it's hard, I don't know, you're reinforcing a timeline you don't want. Instead, start speaking as if it's already happening. You don't need to fake confidence. Just speak with clarity. And finally, stop abandoning yourself in the face of discomfort. The old version of you will scream for attention. It will whisper doubts. It will ask you to wait, to shrink, to delay. Don't make that wrong. Just make it irrelevant. You've already chosen. So now, you act. You don't act when it feels perfect. You act when it feels aligned. You act when something inside you says, it's time. And if you're still reading this, that voice is already speaking. So here's what I want you to do. Decide what you're no longer available for. Name it. Speak it out loud. Write it in the comments if you're ready to make it real. Then, decide who you're willing to become, not just someday. Today, choose one small action that proves the shift, one aligned decision. This is not about speed, it's about integrity. And every time you choose alignment over familiarity, you send a message to the field. I'm not playing the old role anymore, and the field responds. New people, new conversations, new ideas, new opportunities, and most importantly, a new internal atmosphere, one that feels like peace, like power, like clarity. Because you're not just thinking differently, you're living the shift. And if you do that consistently, without needing it to be perfect, you will cross a threshold. You'll stop asking, when will it happen? You'll stop doubting if it's working. You'll start noticing the signs, the alignments, the flow, and one day soon, you'll realize you didn't manifest a new reality. You became the version of you who already lives there. Not everyone is ready to do this, but you are, and that makes all the difference. Now say it, I am ready to shift. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments. Anchor it into your body. Let this be the day you stopped watching your potential from a distance. Let this be the day you started living it.